I like that. Can I do that again?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, done. January 22nd, 2024, regular session of the Cinnaminson Township Committee is now called to order. Everyone please rise. Join me in saluting the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is being held in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231. Notice of this meeting was published in the Burlington County Times and the Courier Post on January 8th, 2024. Roll call, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mayor. Mr. Horner is absent. Mr. McGill.
Here.
Mr. Seagrass.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Craven.
Present.
Mayor Kondo.
Present.
Thank you.
We'll go right into the committee liaison reports. Committee member Horner for Finance and Economic Development is absent this evening. Committee member McGill, Public Safety.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. December 2023 activity report for the police department is as follows. Total incidents responded to was 2258. Total arrests made were 31. I should make this font bigger. 31. Total property checks 854. Total motor vehicle stops 178. Total motor vehicle summonses issued 147. Total DWI arrests 4. And Morgan Cemetery calls 2. Noise complaints, not after hours, contact made to lower volume. And that concludes my report, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. McGill. Committee member Seagrass, Public Works.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple things regarding Public Works. Public Works Department employees continue to collect curbside Christmas trees through the end of this month, January. Residents are reminded to remove lights, ornaments, and stands, and please do not put them in bags. Residents are also reminded when you're disposing of mattresses for bulk collection to not place the mattress within a plastic, to please put that in a plastic bag. The bags can be purchased on or at any major retailer, including the online ones such as Amazon. And one last note, residents are reminded that recycling collection is directly managed by Burlington County, and residents should call 609-267-6889 with any questions or concerns related to collection. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Seagrass. Deputy Mayor Cravel, Parks and Recreation and Veterans Affairs.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. In regards to Parks and Recreation, we are sponsoring a free Pilates program for Cinnaminson residents ages 13 and up. The program is being held on Mondays from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. starting January 29th through April 22nd and will be held at New Albany School. The township is accepting permits for the 2024 field and facility usage. Use of municipal fields and facilities for organized play and activities requires approval. For additional information or to apply for a permit, please visit cinnaminsonnj.org, Parks and Recreation, and under Park Usage. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That concludes my report.
Thank you. And myself, Administration, Health, and Senior Services, I have no report this evening. So that brings us right into the consent agenda. And given that it's a relatively short consent agenda, I'm going to give this a crack myself. Resolution 2024-29 is to authorize approval of change order for Union Landing Road Phase 2 and Phase 3 reconstruction project, which will change the total amount by $11,405.48. Resolution 2024-30 is authorize agreement with Burlington County Mosquito Extermination Commission for 2024 mosquito control, which is an annual agreement that permits the county to perform aerial sprays within the township. The county is required to notify the township in advance of any scheduled sprays so we can notify the general public. 2024-31 is authorizing the appointment of Community Emergency Response Team for 2024. Part of the township's emergency management plan is to appoint a community emergency response team, which consists of residents who volunteer their time to assist with emergency responders during declared emergencies and disasters. They often are team leaders who coordinate shelters and other assistance for residents. Emergency Management Coordinator Danny Norman recommends that the governing body authorize the appointments. 2024-32, authorizing the appointment of Tammy Sherlock to the Zoning Board of Adjustment. That was a recommendation that came from current zoning board members to fill the empty slot that we have. Resolution 2024-33 is authorizing the award of contract to Triad Associates for Affordable Housing Administrative Agent Services. And that's, Triad Associates has been providing our affordable housing consulting services for several years in conjunction with our Council on Affordable Housing Council. Triad provides important guidance and ensures the township remains compliant with our Fair Share Housing Plan. This is a reappointment for a one-year term through December 31st, 2024. Resolution 2024-34 is authorizing award of non-fair and open contract to Booth Mechanical, Inc. for stormwater and sewer pipe repair. Public Works Superintendent Kevin Gaunt and Township Engineer Joe Barbaduro have identified a necessary repair on Laurel Drive. Quotes were received, and the lowest responsible quote was Booth Mechanical in the amount of $10,800. CFO and purchasing agent Julia Edmondson has determined that sufficient funding is available for this purchase and recommends that we authorize this repair. And last but not least, we have some raffles. Inspiring Life Together on March 9th, 2024. St. Charles Borromeo from 6:10 from June 10th, 2024 to June 16th, 2024. Legacy Treatment Services Foundation for September 9th, 2024, and Catholic Charities for September 25th, 2024, and that is the end of the consent agenda. May I have a motion to open public comment on consent agenda items only?
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion to open up public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Segrist. May I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstentions? Public comment on the consent agenda is now open. Please state your name and address for the record. Seeing no one come forward, may I have a motion to close public comment on the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion too, Mr. Mayor.
I will second that. Voice vote, please. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays, abstentions? Oh, okay. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion to approve the consent agenda.
May I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please, Madam Secretary.
Yes, Mayor. Mr. McGill?
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Craybill?
Aye.
Mayor Kondo?
Aye.
Thank you.
Approval of minutes. We're going to take these separately. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of December 28th, 2023?
I'll make that motion to approve meeting minutes for December 28, 2023.
I will second that.
Excuse me, Mayor. Mayor,
Oh,
Mr. McGill cannot.
Mr. Milk,
I
yes, you
cannot.
cannot vote because
Okay.
you didn't attend that meeting.
Thank you.
Can he still
Make a motion?
make a motion to put it on?
No, I
Kathy
can't.
wasn't there.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes for December 28th, 2023.
And I will second that. Roll call vote, Madam Secretary?
Thank you. Mr. Seagrass?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Craybill?
Aye.
Mr. McGill?
Abstain.
Thank you. And Mayor Kondo?
Aye.
Thank you.
May I now have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 2nd, 2024 meeting? You can do that.
I will make a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 2nd, 2024.
Can I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. McGill?
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Craybill?
Aye.
Mayor Kondo?
Aye.
Thank you.
And now we're to the favorite part of your meeting. Can I have a motion to approve the bill list?
I'll make a motion to approve the bill list, Mr. Mayor.
May I have a second?
I will second.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Mr. McGill?
Aye.
Mr. Seagrass?
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Craybill?
Aye.
Mayor Kondo?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any comments from our professionals this evening? You guys?
Mr. Mayor, may I?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I hope I'm not stealing everyone's thunder up on the dais, but the last couple of weeks, we've had a number of weather events and issues within the community that have been trying throughout the whole region, but specifically here to Cinnaminson. I just want to thank Public Works, police, fire, our emergency responders, specifically our emergency management coordinator, Danny Norman, who really helped out in orchestrating a response for us as a group. And I want to thank the residents for working with us through that time as well. So hopefully we don't have too many more weather events, but it's only January.
Hopefully we don't have any more weather.
You got it.
Anyone else? Kevin?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to thank the committee for placing their confidence in me, and I'm so happy to be here and to join this group and to help in all the good government areas that you provide. So thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. May I have a motion to open public comment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to open up public comment, please.
And I will second that. Have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nays, abstentions? Public comment is now open. Please come forward, state your name and address for the record. You got up faster than anybody, so you're
I'm
up.
just that excited about local government, you know? Name's Eric Heyman, Huyman, lives on 117 White Birch Drive. First, I want to congratulate you, Mayor Conda, and of course you, Deputy Mayor Crayville, on ascending to Mayor and Deputy Mayor this term. I just wanted to come up and kind of echo kind of what I talked about at the last meeting in early December about the importance of flood management and with the upcoming major storms coming in the coming years and all of that. And I know Mr. Shoemaker? Is that right? Did I get that right?
That's pretty good.
Look at that. And I know you covered kind of that a few minutes ago, and I just kind of wanted to echo, I never usually read the newspaper other than my dad's New York Times every now and again, but I did see this in the mailbox from the Cinnaminson Sun about the storm and how it was worse in this community than Sandy all those years ago, and how the Delaware River crested at 11, almost 12 feet, and how 50 homes in our community have been really damaged from that. And I just wanted to, this is kind of what I meant when I said these kind of events will probably be happening more and more often over the next few years, decades. How I mentioned last time how Delaware's probably going to rise by another 7 inches, something like that, more extreme weather events. So I was hoping this meeting I could know if there are any more specific plans in the coming year about what we want to do, about how to protect the community from extreme weather events in the coming years. I know there's a lot of outfalls along the Pennsauken Creek and all of that, but I noticed, I read in this as well, that a lot of the damage in this town was along in East Riverton, and there's not as many there along River Road where a lot of the flooding commonly happens. And that kind of leads into a kind of a snowball effect with, you know, how I mentioned last time, Fork Landing Bridge, how it's such an asset to the community, and how it's kind of even below sea level a little bit. So if, you know, the tide rises and rises, we could lose Fork Landing, period, and that would make, you know, everybody have to go through 130. So honestly, I just wanted to know if there are any more specifics about plans on how to prevent future damage and current damage due to probable more extreme weather events in the coming years.
To your point, we've been here about 6 years, the 5 of us. In those 6 years, flooding is something that we have actually taken very seriously. It's something that has been neglected in Cinnaminson for a lot of years before this committee took over. Since we took over, we've rebuilt a lot of the East Riverton roads, and we've put a lot of the stormwater management underground. This past event was
The whole river rose.
yeah, it was insane. I mean, the river breached the riverbank. I'm not sure what we can do about that, but as far as normal, everyday flooding, which has occurred down there for years, we have taken a lot of time and energy and devoted it to rebuilding those roads, rerouting all the stormwater underground so they're not standing in ankle-deep water. We have, with the development of the Old Hoganese project, which is the Fox Park now on Taylor's Lane, we required them to take a serious look at stormwater, and I think 30% was the number we required them to reduce it by, and it took them $5 or $6 million worth of their money to build the storm management, and it's all underground, it all seeps out to the river. We're looking at the rest of the East Riverton sections. We're looking at the Parry sections that tend to flood from the Pennsauken Creek. And we're looking at a lot of options, including rebuilding roads so that they drain properly. There are some state programs that have money available to the homeowners to do various and sundry things. And dare I say it, I'm not the brightest guy, but I look at these creeks and think, you used to be able to run sailboats up and down these creeks with 7 or 8 foot keel boards. You can't do that anymore because they're all silted in. My simple solution is to dredge them, but now you have to deal with the Department of Environmental Protection and all of the red tape that goes with that. So we are looking at all sorts of options on how to get rid of this water, how to reroute the water, and how to make it easier to live in these sections with less flooding. So anything that's available to us, we are certainly looking at, and a lot of stuff we have already done. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do, and I know these guys wanted to deal with it because it's pervasive, and it's gonna get worse. So if there's anything else that anyone else has, I mean, we've taken it seriously. We've addressed it as best we can in the past couple of years, and we are looking at other ways to address it going forward.
Thank you very much. I just like to keep on advocating for these kind of big issues, especially since I'm at the environmental policy at Rutgers, so, kind of ingrained here all the time.
Oh,
Can't get rid of
absolutely.
that, yeah. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
White Goins, 100 Purnell. I have two subjects. First one is, when you dial the 666 number, does that go directly to the Cinnaminson dispatch? It seems not, because my wife called the other day about somebody that walked up the street, didn't have anything with them, he kept peering at all the houses, and then about 5 minutes later, came back with a bike. Now, so she called the 666 number and told them everything, and then they said, hold on, and then they must put them in with Cinnaminson's dispatch. But by that time, you're talking now, 5 minutes went by, and this person's all the way down in Palmyra now. So that's my first question. It seems to me that when we call that number, it should go directly to Cinnaminson's dispatch. We're not going to call 911. Do we know?
Billy, do you,
So regardless of whether you call 911 or you dial the 666 number, you get what's called a call taker, a county call taker. They have up to 8 call takers working at a time, and they take all incoming calls throughout the county. They take the initial information. Once they take the initial information, that gets transferred to our dispatcher. There's no way to contact our dispatcher directly. That's something that the county did not want to do, and they refused to do. And unfortunately, we are stuck at what the county wants to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's a shame because I'm sure that bike was stolen, but by the time the police came, he was long
Yeah.
gone.
And it doesn't matter whether you call the 666 number or 911, you get the
Okay.
same people.
So I got my answer on that.
Okay.
The second subject was on EMS. I've had the opportunity and pleasure to use it quite a few times since the end of November. And Palmyra, for the first 3 times, took me directly to where I wanted to go in Marlton. And when the last time I had EMS, it was Cinnaminson Fire Department, and they refused. They said because of time. Now, I've checked the times, and other than rush hour, you're talking about 19 minutes versus 20 minutes. And to me, it just seems silly that for a minute difference that they wouldn't take you where you want to go. And I guess there's probably nothing we could do about that either, other than, complain. But like I said, each time Palmyra took me directly to Martin the 3 times, and the last time Cinnaminson said no, even though we went back and forth of, okay, they'll take me here, here, here for about 5 minutes. Well, that 5 minutes, I could have been loaded and gone, but, they refused. So.
And I don't know how we even respond to that, because we don't know what the situation was, and the fire district would probably have a better explanation for you.
Yeah, and I'll ask them the next time. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Catherine Schneider, 512 Division Street. I live right along the Pensauken Creek, and we had a terrible flood this time. And you mentioned something about various money that's available to homeowners.
Yes.
My next-door neighbor told me to tell you that her house is in a shambles. She lost everything. She had a foot of water in her house. She lost all her furniture, all her appliances. She has flood insurance, but all of this is going to take time, and they, of course, do not pay for you to live anywhere else, and she's unable to live there. So I was interested in finding out where I could find out about that extra money, and also wondering, you said that there are different things that you're investigating, and the dredging, which sounds so promising. Is there any kind of a citizen thing that I could organize with my neighbors? We are beside ourselves. We are afraid we're all going to lose our homes. This was awful. It was the worst. I've been there for 21 years, and it has never been that bad, ever. We were terrified. We left Friday night because when the county call came through, we thought if we didn't want to put a first responder in danger coming to get our sorry selves. So we just got out before the rain started. But Saturday afternoon again, the flood was so bad, it came all the way up to our bottom step, and, it's terrifying. It really, truly is.
No, I can understand, and and I did mention dredging. That's something that if I could tell Kevin to get in there and dredge that tomorrow, you would have water flowing in there. That's a long-term solution because the state moves slower than most governments. But I don't.
Is there any letter writing that we could organize the neighbors, anything that we could do? Some of our elderly residents I've spoken to them, we've all talked to the neighborhood, and they're putting their houses up because they're terrified, they're afraid. One lady's been there since 1968. She said it has never, ever been that bad.
And it was a catastrophic event. I've been in town for 40 years. I've never seen anything like that. But I don't know, Mr. Schubager?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. First of all, I'm really sorry to hear what you went through, and I know it's been rough over there. And as I said earlier, the people who are responsible for providing assistance, I think, are doing a great job and doing the best they can, but we know that's not the long-term answer.
Well, nobody can stop the water.
Correct.
We don't blame anybody for
I appreciate
being
that.
unable to stop the water.
I
We
appreciate that.
understand.
So what I would suggest, and Mayor, so since I've been with this group, it's been over 5 years, we've made a concerted effort to establish a good working relationship with the DEP, which takes time and effort, and contacts change at the state level sometimes. This group has stayed together and we've established contacts. Our engineer, sometimes he's at the meetings here, but he's not here tonight. Quite frankly, there's nothing on the agenda that really pertains to him directly. But I know he is working on establishing good rapport with the DEP rep for Cinnaminson, because there's been changes again with stormwater management practices that we've been notified within the past few months. And I think I mentioned this at a meeting recently. We'll be back here in the next several months proposing and hopefully adopting new stormwater management practices to comply with state regulations. Now's the time for us and for residents, in my opinion, Mayor, to really reach out to our state legislators who are even more closely tied with the DEP, obviously, and really look at this as a group effort. So if you don't mind, and what I could do is try to come up with a way that we could get I'm not saying a letter writing campaign, if you will, but some type of connection for the residents directly to our legislators. We have a liaison for the local legislators, for each town. That's how they operate, and we have them here in Cinnaminson. Either the mayor or myself, on behalf of the mayor and the committee, I can reach out and make sure they're aware of these concerns. I'm sure they're getting calls, and see what the best process is to effectuate change. It's going to take a monumental effort, as you suggested. We can't just stop water with a wand, right? But
Right.
I would say that's kind of an approach we have to take. Is that something like, I'll certainly get your contact information.
I am at your disposal.
Thank you. If you
I
could
really,
help us-
truthfully, my
gotta
children
tell
are
you.
grown, I got all kinds of time.
So we sit up here and they have the governing body has a really important job. We all have an important job. From experience, I can tell you when residents become part of the solution, the state starts to listen even more, and the representatives of the state. So I think that's really where we probably need to go with this.
Okay.
So I'll get your information, and then we'll take it from there. Sir, we're gonna talk more about it in subcommittee, because I know it's something that is not going away. And just when you say this is the worst we've seen, and it probably is, we don't want to be around and say we could have done something and then have it be bad again. So
Yeah, I
whatever
mean,
we can do, we're willing to help.
We have repairs scheduled to the tune of almost $3,000 next week.
And we don't want anyone to be in that situation. If there's anything we can do and get real change, we'll do it.
You mentioned state resources. Is there a place that you could kind of guide us to?
At this point, I mean, we just touched on this with our engineer late this afternoon, and like 4:30,
Okay.
4:45. So I'm really not sure what is available, but he
Okay.
did mention there might be some stuff available.
Okay.
And he's going to research it, and the minute we know more,
Would it
Mr.
be posted
Schumacher-
on the website or something like that?
I
or-
imagine we could do that.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
No, thank you, and I'm sorry that I'm sorry that, you know, you had to deal with that.
Mrs. Snyder, can I ask you the neighbor? What's the address of the neighbor that you were...
1619 Pensauken Street. She just bought 2.5 years ago. Her house was brand new. It just flipped, and now everything is torn out. She said and I saw her yesterday, about 2 feet. Every floor, every appliance, all her bottom cabinets, all her beds, everything was ruined with the water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Paul.
No, we're good.
It's gonna take me a minute. Is it okay if I pull up some chairs or something to set all these up so you guys can see them?
What is it you're setting up?
I got a lot of graphs and stuff that I wanna use to, help kind of.
Do we have anything we can,
facilitate what I'm gonna talk about.
do we have anything we could put these, or do we want to just pass them?
I have these, I'm just gonna clip these to the back of the chairs or something.
Okay.
And, just kind of set them on so you guys can see them, is that okay?
Corey, do you want help?
Yes, please. It's probably taking me a minute.
Being loud. I know I didn't put my glasses, but I can see what
Yeah. I'll bring them next time.
One short.
Plus, we don't have one accessible. Right, yeah. Like we can just grab, like,
I'm sure they,
easily.
the planning board never
We have one, it's just not like easily accessible like that.
easily.
Easily,
Good one.
easily accessible.
Thanks, Albert. And Billy, and Kevin. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
It's going to be an interesting year, Mr. Mayor.
It's all good.
Corey Richardson, 730 South Bellevue. So I'm just going to take a minute to explain a bit of my background to hopefully help make a little more sense as to why I'm doing this. Yeah, Corey Richardson. I served 2 deployments in Baghdad, Iraq with the 101st Airborne Division in the Infantry Recon Unit. Upon leaving service in 2010, I came to work over at, I worked at Parks Casino for like 4 years, bartending and stuff like that. Worked out in the, in the civilian sector. In 2014, I could not handle working in this society. I was contracted then by a private military to go back to Iraq and run high threat protection operations for U.S. Ambassador Stuart Jones. So from 2015 and 16, I was running operations for high threat protection operations for him, and then came back into our society. I say that only to express my commitment to this country and everything like that. And long story short, I mean, I don't know how much time anybody has to pay attention to, what's going on around the world. I know everybody's overworked, underpaid, and everything like that. Believe me, I understand that. I do have time to pay attention to what's going on, around the world, especially in this country, which is my focus. Here we are. So, I mean, I'll just jump right into this. So, right, every president and everything like that, all they ever talk about is our economy, jobs, and everything like that, right? We all think that that's the way to fix all these issues that we have in our country. I mean, I don't think anybody can deny that our country is on fire right now, right? I think we can all understand that, right? So all I'm trying to show with these graphs is just showing that everything, everything goes along the same trajectory, right? So let's start with the economy that everybody is so concerned with, right? Our economy constantly goes up, right? What goes up with our economy? U.S. violent crime. What else goes up with our economy? Suicide rates in the United States, drug overdose, the wealth gap continues to grow, antidepressant use, obesity in this country, school shootings, right? Everything goes in tandem with our economy. Our economy grows, our quality of life goes down, right? What I'm talking about today is quality of life. Our standard of living in this country is obviously par none, right? We have one of the best standards of living in this country, or in the world, right? But then when you start to get into, what is our quality of life in this country? That this is what I see and why the world is on fire, because our quality of life in the greatest country in the world is absolutely horrendous, right? The violent crimes in the United States, right? This past year, 1,203,000 violent crimes, right? Suicide. I like how all of our data and all our collection agencies use this, per capita assessment to evaluate the country, to make things not look so bad, right? This suicide rate in the United States it's 14.2. What does that mean, right? What does that equate to in reality, in American lives, right? That was 49,000 Americans that killed themselves last year, right? 49,000 Americans that just could not adapt in this, that had, in the greatest country in the world, woke up one morning and was like, I'm done. I can't do this anymore, right? And over a huge portion of that is my veteran counterparts, right? As I'm sure Deputy Mayor Crable knows, right? 17 a day, we're down from 22 a day. 17 people who put their lives on the line for this country, right? Who risk their lives for this country are dead. And this ain't just about veterans, right? We're a small fraction of that, right? That's 50,000 people that again cannot live in this society, and yet nobody, it seems, just looks at the data, right? All we try to do is bring more money into the country. Joe Biden, we need more jobs. Donald Trump, we got to strengthen the economy, right? Like, our economy's through the roof, right? How's that going to fix anything that's going on? Again, our violent crime, everything is up, year over year, up, right? School shootings. There are 346 school shootings in this country last year, right? Kids only go to school 180 days a year. School shootings happen at random. Captain, is there any way to predict when the next crime is going to happen? Absolutely not, right? So every day in this country, the greatest country in the world, we have to take a 64% chance with our children's lives to send them to school. We're gambling with our kids' lives every day in the greatest country in the world, right? Again, 346 shootings. That's, again, 180 a day. I'm sure you don't need me to explain it, right? Antidepressant use. We lead the world, right? That's roughly 50 million Americans are prescribed antidepressants in last year, right? Roughly 50 million Americans don't know how to be happy in this country, right? 50,000 people on average are just killing themselves. They just had enough. 1.2 million people are being raped, killed, whatever, by the other part of society that can't live this way, right? The 1%'s doing great. They're good to go, right? Drug overdose deaths, right? What else? Again, I mean, there are plenty more. I just ran out of time to make graphs, all right? And I couldn't get. So, these are the things that I use to measure the quality of life. And the reason I do this is because it's the saddest realization I've ever had after coming home from Iraq, is realizing that in this third world country, their quality of life in that country is better, far better than the quality of life in the greatest nation in the world, right? We don't lead the world in anything but murder, suicide, drug overdoses, drug use. Are rich, just getting richer and richer, just not giving a shit about anybody else but themselves, right? Antidepressant use, obesity, school shootings. This is what we lead the world, right? Like, at what point does our country, our leadership, right? And I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about Congress, the executive branch, all those people that care more about winning an election than actually doing anything to actually help the public, that just ignore all this data, right? Like, it's a simple Google search to understand the scope of what is happening in our country, right? And I've never heard any of our leadership talk about any of this, right? And how to actually address this other than more jobs, stronger economy, right? Like, okay, we're doing that, right? And look what's happening. Look what's following, right? And again, we somehow convince everyone in America that more jobs, a stronger economy is how we're going to somehow fix this, even though we've been trying this since the inception of our country, and things just constantly get worse, right? And again, one thing, I have to say, thank God for Donald Trump, right? Thank God for this man, because this man gets on TV every day and shows us that capitalism is not the way, right? He shows us that. This man is worth $4.2 billion, and that dude has nothing but hate in his heart, in his mind. Nothing but hate, right? He has $4.2 billion, and he says we need a stronger economy. This economy got you $4.2 billion. What more do you need? When is it going to be enough, right? Will things get better when Donald Trump gets $10 billion? Will things get better when Donald Trump gets $20 billion? Everything's going to trend right along with it, right? Like at what point do we start, at what point does our nation look in the mirror and realize that this isn't working, right? Look at how many people, look at the communities that we've left behind, the entire black population in this country we just left behind, veteran communities left behind, right? Like,
We fully understand where you're going with this. I don't know how that would tie into what we can do.
Me neither.
And by the way,
I had to talk to somebody about it though.
thank you very much for your service, but I understand all of this.
Right.
But I don't know that there's anything that we certainly can do. And you understand there's not a thing we can
Right.
do.
I mean, there's something we can do. I don't know what there.
Yes.
I mean, there are things that we can point residents to. There are addiction help services, there's services for veterans.
Right.
There's a lot of services that are provided by the state that I think we can post and point them to. But there's nothing that,
No,
other
no,
than
I
awareness, I don't know how much more we can put them to the right departments and the folks to go to.
Right.
And we could talk amongst ourselves about some additional things, but.
Right. But I mean, like, that's what is like, again, what can the public do about this but just sit here and just get trampled on?
And I think we're all
Right.
touched by everything that's here.
I know,
think in each
yeah,
one of our
absolutely.
families,
Absolutely.
there's somebody that's dealing with addiction.
Yeah.
We all have veterans in our families.
Yeah.
So we're all touched by it,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah. But that's why I'm here is it's like, what can we do? Like, what we just have to just ride this out? Like, again, not just from your guys' standpoint, like as a community, as the people of this country, what can we do about this, right? At what point does the 16 million strong veteran community start leaning on the Department of Defense to identify that the largest threat to this nation is our capitalist economy that is enhanced, that is, put forth by our two-party system that just fails miserably. It's never worked, right? Our government at that level is just completely inefficient. They can't get anything done, right? So again, when you have a community of people who swore to defend this nation against enemies, both foreign and domestic, and I obviously take that very serious, and so does the 16 million strong veteran community, the ones that are left of us, that are left, after each day goes by, like what do we do? Right, I'm not gonna how can I just sit here and just watch the nation crumble while Congress does nothing, the executive branch does nothing, and the super rich just continue to crush us? Like, at what point do I start, I know. I'm really just talking.
We absolutely feel all this.
Yeah.
The same as you do. And everyone up here has their thoughts on all of this.
Right.
Probably isn't the place I want to tell you what my thoughts are.
Understandable. Yeah.
But it's something like Committeeman Seeger said, with regard to suicide rates and drug use, there are things that we can do locally just for awareness.
Right.
And that's something we will all need to talk about and see where we would like to address it.
Right.
But it's pretty powerful, and I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I mean, well, I feel like I'm at a loss, and I understand your guys' hands are tied. Like, right, everybody's hands are tied. Nobody can do anything. It's like, again, Captain, I'm sure you see the sentiment more than all of us on the ground. You know what I mean? And seeing what is really going on in our communities, it's just, again, I don't understand, right? Like, I just don't understand, how or what, right? Without turning to some extremes, which I'm not talking violence or anything like that, but without rallying the 99% of Americans together and just collapsing this economy, which we could absolutely do, right? Legally, right there. The 99 does have options on the table, again, that are nonviolent, perfectly legal, to literally shut this economy down. Like, is that what we need to do, right? Do I have to start rallying the veteran community to lean on the Department of Defense to address the threat that faces our nation? It ain't over there, right? Terrorist attacks across the globe killed 7,000 people last year, right? That isn't a fraction of what we do to our own people here. It's not even it wouldn't even make up for 0.001%, right? So, like, at what point do we, I know, man, kind of. I know. It's just like, I don't know.
I'm at a loss for words, which
Yeah.
it doesn't happen often that I'm at a loss for words.
All right.
But we understand. And I tend to agree with a lot of this, but there are little things we can do locally.
Right.
Whether that has an effect or not, I don't know. But we can certainly do what little we can.
No, I absolutely understand that, and I guess I would ask, like, what would be the next, like, who would I go talk to, you know?
This would at least, it would be something that you might want to talk to your state representatives about.
Okay.
I mean, this is something that is so far above our heads that we can't stand on a chair and touch it.
Right,
But the
right.
closer you get to the top, the more effect you'll have.
Okay.
The next thing I would do would be to talk with your assembly person and your state senator and see what their thoughts are on this.
Okay.
And they can take it from there or direct you where they think it needs to go
Okay.
to make some impact.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, sir?
Thank you.
Thank you, Corey.
Thank you.
Corey, any help?
Please, thank you.
Always comes down easier than it goes up, doesn't it?
This is the easy part. Mr. Mayor, in case you can tell, I'm never gonna bring up the same thing twice, so I'll
See,
always-
so we can't even prepare.
Yeah, so that's what, we already talked about that, so I don't know what's in store for next time.
Oh, it'll be a surprise. Thank you, Corey. Okay. Seeing no one else, may I have a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion to close public comment, Mr. Mayor.
May I have a second?
I'll second that, Mr. Mayor.
Voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Nays, abstentions? Public comment is now closed. Do we have any comments from committee? Anyone? Bueller? Boom, I said it.
I know you did. I just would like to just thank and welcome aboard Mr. Corman. Welcome aboard. Looking forward to working with you this year.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And all I have is what Mr. Schubiger has already said. I've been the mayor now for 20 days, give or take a few. We've had one major rainstorm, 2 major snowstorms, and our Department of Public Works, our police department, our fire department, who went door to door during the floods, and our emergency management coordinator, Danny Norman, they busted it out. They did the best they could do with the situation they were given. Hopefully, we don't have to call on them to do it again, ever. But I would just like to commend them all because they really put in the time and the effort and hopefully made a bad situation not quite as bad. That's all I have for the evening.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
May I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
May I have a second?
I'll second that.
Voice vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Nays, abstention, meeting is now adjourned. Hold on, I get to do this again. Boom. Next meeting is Monday, February 5th, 2024, at 6:30 PM, right here. Thanks, everyone.